A reputation is something that stays with you all the time, no matter what you do, no matter what's your net worth. So it's very important now that I'm doing some general partnership deals also on my side to get that knowledge and experience from what I've learned as a limited partner, and apply it in my deals with my investors and try to accomplish all those criteria as I was personally looking for in a sponsorship team.
Josh Appleman, founder and CEO of Appleman Properties. Today we're joined with Tudor Franku. Tudor is an anesthesiologist and real estate entrepreneur. He excels in outpatient anesthesia and multifamily property investments. He has a portfolio that includes 30 plus single family homes, 5,000 plus that he is passively invested in, and another 500 units that he's a part of the general partnership GP team on. Tudor, we are excited to have you here today. If you could let the audience know a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you inviting me. What can I tell you? It's been a journey. I started off in medicine, anesthesiologist for 20 something years, and then gradually started investing in real estate for probably about 25 years now. Focused on single family homes initially, and then gradually transitioned to the multifamily space.
That's a perfect path because you get the feeling of real estate, the transactions, and then the benefits of what it can bring, including the depreciation along the way to preserve income as well as appreciation, cash flow.
Yeah,
also,
obviously,
the
probably the first reason I was about to say that attracted me to it is that you basically invest in something real and you have a lot of tax advantages out of doing this.
Yeah, that, and you see where your money's at. So if you've got $100,000 out of the bank and it's in a property, you know exactly where it's at. It can be accounted for versus say out there on the stock market. And also, as an immigrant, can you tell us a little bit about your journey from immigration to coming here and how that's
Yeah,
excelled?
yeah, absolutely. I always say I was born at 28 years old in the United States. So basically came here when I was 28. Very low knowledge about the financial system overall. Coming from a communist country, it was difficult for me to get any kind of information regarding that, and started educating myself slowly, reading books. We didn't have internet at that time. Books, newspapers, maybe some seminars or conferences, but slowly trying to get that information in my head and start applying it. And this is one thing that I would definitely encourage everyone. You can always educate yourself, but you have to take action at some point. Even if you fail or, make some mistakes, you learn from them. And yeah, it was not an easy path. But if I can do it, anybody can, right? So I started off with small investments in single family homes once I got some sort of a continuous income, and put all my savings into that. Not only that, I got some cash flow out of it, but you realized very quickly that I have a lot of tax savings by investing in real estate. So slowly, you realize that you have a path that you can expand. And as I wouldn't call myself a real estate investor at that time, but I was trying to maximize all the potential I had and opportunities I had in real estate to save my money, and building up a portfolio, and then go from there and say, what's next? How can I scale up? What else can I do to improve this condition? And at some point I realized the single family homes will not do much in terms of exponential growth, and started off maybe a little later than someone else. I wanted to have a more faster pace of accumulating enough cash flow towards my retirement years. So that's why I, at some point I said I have to scale up somehow from single family portfolio and go into multifamily, which was probably the best thing I ever done. I regret I didn't do it earlier, but that's how we learn, right?
Yeah, that the pursuit of you're just never satisfied, so you're in a pursuit of something constantly greater than where you're currently at. That's incredible. So you've immigrated here. You had to learn the language, learn everything, and then what made you get into real estate? What was the event, the factor that wanted you to get into real estate?
Um, it's kind of a interesting story I have. It was probably 1999 to 2000, and I moved to Maryland from New York to get a new job. And I found out about this guy that had a real estate seminar somewhere out in Virginia. I didn't know much about it. I said, okay, let me go educate myself. Like, I was soaking up everything I could at that time. And I go to the seminar in Virginia, and it's this couple, very nice couple that were teaching on the scene, and their names were Kim and Robert Kiyosaki. Uh, and they were doing their seminars by themselves with just a couple of other people, small venue, and teaching about all these concepts, financial concepts that were very different from what I've read so far at that time from books. And I was like, oh, this is something interesting that I need to explore. And I bought their book, which was, we all know it by now, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which was basically a little manual to explain how the cash flow game works. Start getting into a cash flow game club and start playing with people. And little by little, you start figuring out something that it's different from what the normal financial education brings you in schools in general. And that was a moment for me that kind of opened my mind and say, wow, there's something out there that I need to explore and learn about. Um, Read, year by year, read all his books, Cash Flow Quadrant and all this other in the series. And by the second book, I said I need to act on it
Yeah.
because some people get paralyzed by, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And I just started investing in a property, bought it with the mortgage, put some down payment with the bank, and start getting that little cash flow every month and roll over some other profits into a second property and so on and so forth. It's not a difficult game. You just have to play it. It's like Monopoly, right? You have to go around a circle to collect $200 every time.
Yeah.
So it's not rocket science.
It's a game that forces you to grow because you want to keep your momentum going, and momentum by buying more properties and renovating and adding value to your existing properties. But
Yeah,
it's like forced growth, which it's incredible the way it helps. And your journey going from zero to investing into single family, and now you're in the general partnership of multifamily apartment complexes, 500 units multifamily, and then 5,000 units passively invested. So you've explored and realized the benefits of being on both sides, the general partnership
yeah,
operating the complex and all of the responsibilities on that end, as well as the benefits of being on the limited partnership side,
yes.
essentially placing capital and letting the operators do the work. Can you elaborate a little bit on your first deal going in to either or, and then what that was like and how you got there?
Yeah, it's an interesting game, right? It's basically the same game, like I said. The only difference is that you don't deal with little greenhouses. You deal with like little red hotels, right? With multifamily apartment buildings, but it's the same game at a different scale. Like I did with my first single family home and putting in a little bit of money down payment, get a mortgage, and start getting a little cash flow and work in that house to improve it myself. The same thing happened with my first investment as a limited partner into a multifamily apartment building, where I basically got to know the sponsors personally, create that little, trust relationship between me and them, see how they operate, see how they communicate, and then invest in one of their deals. And it was basically I would say, an entry point for me to get to know the business. Like, how are the monthly reports given to limited partners? What is the communication about financials? What is happening with the capex projects? And all these little things that can add up to make a sponsor good or bad. And, obviously, again, nobody wants to talk about failures, right? But failures are the things that make us better. So I would encourage, and I'm not afraid to speak about them. I had failures in my investment journeys. I invested with people that I shouldn't have. I had properties that I should have, study more. But it's always a progress. It's always a stepstone that you go up. And I'm sure probably now I'm doing things that I don't know about, because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But it's always an improvement. But you can only improve if you do things.
Yeah. There's a saying, it's not difficult, it's different. And everyone
Yes,
kind of shies away from things that are different because they get back into their comfort zone. I'd
correct.
say, but the importance of taking the great things that other syndicators are doing or groups are doing, and combining those together, and then improving upon them and giving your investors an even better experience. It's and we've all got properties that are dogs that we wish we would have got rid of, but there's a time and day for those to come too. But at the time, it made sense that and it made markets shift too. Times change, and
Yes.
um, it's living for another day and being able to pivot and make things happen too. So um, on the limited partnership side, 5,000 units. So you will, and I know that those 5,000 units are not all with the same sponsor. How did you go out and vet and verify the deals as you seen them come over?
Yes. So for me, probably the first criteria is who is running the deal. I'm not looking as much as at the deal itself, but who's running the deal. Who are the operators? Who are the sponsors? People can make a bad deal great, and they can make a great deal very bad.
Yeah,
So it doesn't really matter what the location of the deal is. I mean, it matters, but it's secondary to where the people are, how the people are, what's their character, what's their net worth, what's their experience, and what are their communication skills. So as a limited partner, when I'm going in a deal like that, I want to know exactly how the sponsorship team works, what kind of people they are, what have they done in the past, get some references from other past investors if I can. And obviously the second thing is, look at the deal. If the deal works out, towards the location, what is the capex project and all this stuff. But these are numbers. These are not about people. And we do things with people, not with numbers. So I want to know, what's the construction team looking like, who's the property manager on site, like specifically what kind of people are there. And you can get this information, like if you want it, you can get it. You can participate in some property management calls. You can get some references from other people, from other properties, other sponsorship teams also. Believe it or not, it's a small world once you get to know a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And a reputation is something that stays with you all the time, no matter what you do, no matter what's your net worth. So it's very important now that I'm doing some general partnership deals also on my side to get that knowledge and experience from what I've learned as a limited partner and apply it in my deals with my investors and try to accomplish all those criteria I was personally looking for in a sponsorship team. So, like you said, uh, it doesn't really matter how many units you have or how many deals you have. In my case, I'm probably investing as a limited partner with probably three, four, maximum five teams right now because I got to know them,
Yeah.
one deal after another. I'm open to work with other people also, but it takes an extensive process to vet them right now because I
Yeah.
know more than I knew, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's important to have a sponsor who has business acumen and an entrepreneurship drive and grit to be able to pivot and imply a sense of urgency, because
yeah,
there's always going to be the next thing with properties in general. There's always going to be the next thing to deal with. What is the experience on a property management level and capex level, construction level, and then operations level? The value add. How do you have a property that you've taken from considered distressed to performance, and what does that look like? Can you give me some examples? Those are past performance does equal future results when your sponsors there. He's a jockey on a horse, and
yeah,
you've got to make sure that it's a trusted group. It's essentially you're married to the deal between 3 and 5 years, whether there's going to be a
exactly.
refinance and sale or disposition. It's something that you are going to be connected with the GP team, and you don't want it to be an emotional ride like being in the stock market. You got ups and downs, but it's a long term gain. It should be if done correctly. Um,
Absolutely.
cool thing is that you see on both sides, the GP and the LP, and it's unique because a lot of people don't get that opportunity. And that takes us to the next part: is that you actually raise capital from other people that like and trust, or like and trust you as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you match them up with good deals?
Yes, it's a scary thing in the beginning, right? Because you don't only have to deal with your money, you have to be responsible for some other people's money. And in some cases, they're, friends of yours, family, colleagues, neighbors, all the people around in your life that could put their savings basically in those type of investments. And again, it's a trust relationship that they have with you. So not only that you have to initially earn their trust, but what you've done and how you behaved and how you communicate with them, but also to build up a reputation for yourself to deliver of what you're saying you're gonna do. And obviously, as we all know in multifamily, it's a team sport. You go into a deal with other people and you leverage information and knowledge from all the team. But so it's not only about yourself. But speaking of my investors in particular, that you're bringing into a deal that you are general partner in, it's very important to assure everybody and let them know who are the other team members in that investment. Because sometimes you don't have control of how things are going, regardless of how much power do you have in that deal. So you need to realize that your investors need not only to know you as the sponsor, main sponsor, but know the other team members in the deal, so you can create that kind of rapport, I would say,
Yeah.
between people. And as I said, as I always say to them, I'm not bringing you in any deal. I'm offering you a incredible opportunity to invest in a real estate deal that will perform. It was stressed financially and by numbers by many people, starting from the underwriting to the lender to the broker, and all these people that are looking at numbers and make sure the deal will work, because otherwise nobody will earn any money if the deal doesn't work. So everybody wants to be assured that the deal will work so we can profit, all of us, right? So you bring someone into this opportunity and say, hey, show me anything out there that can bring you a certain decent amount of cash flow, excellent depreciation on the asset that will save you probably a lot in taxes. And you can, at the end, have not only cash flow all throughout those years, but have a sale appreciation of that asset that can bring you even more money. Not only that, but whatever happens during this time is backed by a real building.
Yeah.
Nobody can come and say, you know what, the company went bankrupt. We're not going to give dividends this year. Elon Musk says something on Twitter and the stock goes down, or any kind of uncontrolled circumstance over you have in a stock. That's nothing possible here. I mean, it's a real building with real people, with real tenants that pay rent every month, and their families living there. It's not, they're not doors. They're families.
Yeah.
You have 200-300 families in an apartment building. They're real lives. There's nothing about paper there.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. At the end of the day, you're giving people what they need, not want, and they need housing, they need shelter.
Yes.
So when you go to cut the bills up and minimize your expenses, you still need shelter. So it's not retail, like retail will get affected, or stocks,
Right.
or whatnot. What can you teach a new investor that's looking to get in? What can you teach them to look for in a deal?
A new investor, first of all, I would say should educate himself or herself about what a deal is about, what to expect, and what usually the outcomes are. So financial education is probably the first step I would recommend to anybody. A second thing that they should do is go to a lot of in-person, and I stress this, in-person conferences or seminars, because there's nothing that can be accomplished through Zoom or phone calls or watching a YouTube, documentary or whatever it is, other than an in-person relationship with sponsors that are actually doing this thing. And you get to know them, you get to talk to them, you get to feel them. You see how their body language is when you ask difficult questions. And ask as many questions as you can. No question is wrong. Some people might look at you and say, oh my God, you don't know what you're talking about. Why are you asking me this? And my answer all the time was like, yeah, pretty much I don't really know what I'm talking about. That's why I'm asking you.
That's good.
So, because that's how you learn,
Yeah.
right? You need to be the least informed person in a room all the time. That's how you soak up the information.
That's so true.
So those would be like my 3-4 steps to do about the deal. And then the details are easy to accomplish, like where is the deal, what's the investment, what's the profit? If I can read an underwriting, fine. Some people can't. I have investors that they don't know how to look at an underwriting analyzer. They're talking to me and they're asking me questions from the underwriting analyzer. So it's always a trust relationship. If I tell them, hey, we're gonna get probably less than advertised cash flow initially, and they're like, okay, I trust you. It doesn't matter what the underwriting table it's there, because the numbers can be, I would say, made up in a certain way to look the certain way you want. But we all know that what we're saying and what we write down, it's always going to stay with us. And it's
Yeah.
about your reputation, finally.
Yeah, I love how you emphasize on reputation, because we all leave the house every morning with one reputation, and there's no getting it back. It follows you for the rest of your life. What the actions you do today will be with you, whether it's good or bad, for the rest of your life, and that's extremely important. There's a saying in real estate. It's renegotiating on the contract. You get it under contract, and some are infamous for getting it under contract, take control of the property, doing their inspections, and then renegotiating the price. A skilled eye, a known eye, will go through the property before getting it under contract and know exactly what needs to be done, or roundabout, and then put yourself into a position where the what if is covered by numbers. But some people, you just know you don't want to go under contract with them, because they are going to renegotiate the contract, and they're just going to tie the property up, take it off the market before being marketed, and another potential buyer. So that's reputation. It's an example of reputation. There's many more, good or bad, but that's dealing with people, and ultimately everything is a people business. Um,
Yes.
why is your focus on high income professionals as investors?
Because I am one and I was one. And
Yeah,
that's how I started. Mine, as I said, my main issue with the high income that I have, and I had when I started this, was the amount of taxes that I paid. Because, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
yeah,
So I was trying to figure out, having this huge tax bill, which probably, people are saying that's probably the highest invoice you're going to get in your life, right? Your tax bill. Why not focus on to see how we can decrease that?
yeah,
I'm not going to look of like saving $5 from a Starbucks coffee every morning when I pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in taxes. There has to be a better way to make that more efficient. And it is. I mean, finally I learned that the tax code is not something that I should be scared about. It's something that I should study and get into a partnership with government, like Tom Woolwright says, right? The tax code is made that way so it can help the government. Uh, it's it's not made to help you. It's made to help them, right? But by helping them, you can partner with them and have some tax advantages. That's the whole principle.
yeah,
So investing in real estate is one of them. Providing housing for people that are in need is one of them. Getting solar panels on your house to save the government some money, it's one of them. There's so many other things that you have to know how to play them in order to partner with the government to take those tax advantages. And at some point I said, look, if I could do this for myself, there's so many other people I know out there that are in the same situation or maybe worse than me, and they pay a lot more taxes than I do, and they don't know about these things. Why not go there and just tell them, hey, look what I've done, look what I've accomplished. Why don't you try this investment and see how can it help you? And again, it's about the opportunity you offer people and the way you open some doors for people in your life, because at some point things, what goes around comes around.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that if you do good in your life, good will come your way too.
Yep. Paying forward.
And I offered a couple of people initially this type of opportunities, and they jumped on it, and they're very happy. And I think there are a lot more people out there to be educated about these things.
Yeah.
That's why I slowly start forming this company that I have right now, Stellar Multifamily Enterprise, which is not necessarily an investment company. It's more of an real estate multifamily education company that can basically financially educate people about what advantages multifamily real estate brings to them. And if they want to jump in, great. If not, I'm open to other better investments too.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people they ultimately think that they need to go out and buy real estate and then manage the real estate, work on get the renovation crews in there and do all this stuff. They don't know that there's a path where they can get all of the benefits of real estate, the depreciation, the ownership, and even get a better deal than if they were to go out and buy it on their own, just as being a limited partner. Because
Yeah,
now you're partnering up with that the seasoned sponsor who can take that deal all the way through and manage the property. A lot of these syndication deals, if it's done with the right partnership, the right group, they are depending on the splits, they're just home runs. They can be if they're done right. Um, and the high net worth individuals, the high income earners, they're ultimately going to keep giving away their hard earned income unless they find a hedge against that, and that's partnering up and finding guys like yourself to locate, vet, and verify the deals are good.
yeah.
That's huge. If someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they reach out?
I guess probably the easiest way is through my website, stellarmultifamily.com. It's very easy. I have a lot of resources out there, and people can contact me through that, or any kind of social media channel. I'm there also through my company. So yeah, it's pretty easy to find people these days, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, very cool. I love the journey. Definitely going to be following you, and we'll certainly talk soon. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Josh. I
All right,
appreciate. I hope your learners are learning a lot.
yes, sir. Thanks again. We'll talk
Thank
soon.